Okay, in the last video we've discussed about args, keyword args, star args, and star args. But now we're going to dive into something bigger and even more powerful, which is called object-oriented programming. In the OOP arena, we use classes to make objects. These objects can then have their own specific data and functionality. All right. And if this is your first time hearing about classes and objects, then I'm going to introduce you to them today, right now. So, what are those? Well, let's go over them one by one. What is an object? In simple terms, an object is just something that has data and can do stuff. You can do something with it. Think of it like a phone, a mobile phone. A phone has data, like its brand, model, and battery level. All of those are information about the phone, right? It can also do something. It can also it can make a phone call. It can take a picture. It can play music. Those are the kind of functionalities that you can expect from a phone, right? So in Python, we can represent that phone as an object. So the data about the phone becomes something we call attribute or attributes. And then the things that it can do, we call them methods. All right. So that is that about objects. And then what about class? I mean, what is a class, right? Imagine a class as a template or blueprint for making those phones, meaning a class can spit out as many objects as possible. And each of them can have unique attributes or can have unique details about it or information about it. For example, Samsung has a blueprint for their phones. Every new phone follows that design. A class is like that design, and every object is like a phone built from that design. I hope this is making sense. Okay, enough theory. Let's actually write something. To write a class in Python, you will need to type in the class keyword. So it goes like class and then followed by whatever the name you want to give your class. So in my case, I'm going to give it the name phone. Okay, you type class keyword and you type the name you want to give it to your class, starting uh, with a capital letter at the beginning of the name. But this is just a convention. You can do it however you like. And also, this kind of casing is called Pascal casing. All right. In this casing, if you have another word, for example, phone number, you just type the second word with the capital letter as well. So phone number. But since we're having just a phone, that's it. So after that, you indent. After this indentation, you define a special kind of function. This special function is called initializer or constructor in other languages, but in Python it's called initializer, which is basically what it does. It just initializes an object, so it holds the different data that's going to be displayed about an object, the attributes and everything. So you type in the def keyword and then double underscore init double underscore. Just type in some braces and then followed by the word self. This self, as I type it, you see that Python recognizes it, which means it is something spatial, right? It refers to the object itself, the object that you're referencing. I'm gonna explain this later, but just now know that this has to be in here. You have to put it. You have to type it. Okay. That's the first thing that goes in there, and then you do a comma, and then after the comma, you type in the attributes that you want to display about the phone. For example, let's say brand, and the second one we can say model. I'm just making this up. Since this starts with a def keyword, it means it's a function. We do it like we normally do functions. So a colon here, and let me hide this for a second, and then we indent again. Then you type in self dot brand. If you're not understanding, just bear with me. I'm gonna explain. Okay, this right here can get a little bit intimidating or confusing, but it's really, really easy. Just pay attention, you'll understand. So you're assigning self.brand to this brand that you type in here, which means this parameter is going to be whatever you type as this parameter is going to be self.brand. In other words, each and every object will have this one. So if you type a different name, it doesn't matter. If you type a different brand in another object, it's going to just take it and use it. Okay? These self.brand and self.model are not tied to a specific object. Each and every object has these as you define them once here, you assign them once here, they are attached to each and every object automatically. And depending on how you provide them in the object, that's the brand, that's the model. Alright? You will understand this better when we type the object, when we make the object. We now have attributes. Then we'll define one method for making a phone call. You can call it phone call, or maybe we can just call it call, and then set a parentheses since it's a function. And don't forget, whenever you define a method inside a class, it has to have the self. All right. So we just print something. Okay, let's do this. We use an F string and then we say self dot brand, another set of curly braces, and then we say self dot model. Okay, and then we can just finish off the sentence. We say is making a. All right, now we have a class with attributes and a single method. This one is the method, and these ones are the attributes. All right. To actually use this class, you're gonna have to create an instance of it. That's what we were preparing for all this time. We were preparing to make an object, an instance of the class. So we can say my phone or whatever it is you want to name your variable, just store an instance of the phone class in a variable. So we can say phone and then you type parentheses. Why? Because you've initialized something here and you're gonna have to put the brand and the model. If we run it without the brand and the model, we will run into an error. So now we put a string and then we put the brand. Let's say some song, I believe. I don't know. Some song. And then we do a comma and we put the this represent this brand that we type in. The self is going to be passed in automatically, so we don't need to worry about it. But the brand and the model, we're gonna have to do it ourselves, okay? And the model, so we can say, I don't know, Galaxy. All right, we made a single instance. It carries the brand, which is Samsung, and the model, which is Galaxy A54, the type of the phone, one of their phones. All right. Now, if you want to see any of these, you can just say print my phone dot model. All right. So if we do like this and you do Python app dot py, that's the name of the file. There we go. We have Galaxy A54. So with this, we can display data about the phone. That's how you use these attributes. But with a method, you can just type the name of your instance, for example, my phone, as we have it here, and then you say dot call. Okay, since that is a function, you give it its parenthesis to call it, and that's it. Okay, so if we run the program like this, we'll see the results of this one also, this method. All right, so we'll just Python app.py as usual. Oops, we got an error. Well, this is actually a good thing. Like it actually came in the right moment. The interesting thing is we have an attribute error here. It says phone object has no attribute call. What does it mean? It means that this attributes here we did not define anything called. And that is also saying this our phone class does not have any method at all. It does not expect any method call. So the problem we had here is that I defined the method inside this another method. You understand? It's a method. This one I defined it inside this special method because I did not remove the indentation. That is why indentation is very crucial in Python. So now I have removed it and things should be working just fine. Let's rerun our program and then it should work. It says Samsung Galaxy A54 is making a call. Let's clear this place and rerun the program one more time. There we have it. Samsung Galaxy A54 is making a call. So the real power here comes when you make another instance. So let's duplicate this one and then we just call it phone. Yeah, why not? Phone. And then we say this one is Techno. I don't know. A15. I don't know. I'm just, making an example. So if we want to print, we'll print instead of my phone, we'll print uh, just phone.model. Okay, here we have another instance, and then this instance also has its own way of printing information. So we'll see two different information about two different things that come from the same class, different objects. I'll do a print statement right here to kind of show some space. This print statement is just gonna be like this, nothing, just to put some space in between, and Control L, and then we run the program. We have Galaxy A54, and then uh, Techno A15. It just says Techno A15 is making a phone call. I hope this kind of makes some sense. So let's do a little recap. A class is just a blueprint or a template or a design that you can use to make objects. An object is the thing created from the design or from the template. Attributes are the data inside an object. Attributes just hold data about an object. That's it. Methods are actions the objects can do. Okay, you can define as many methods as you want. It doesn't have to be a phone call like we did. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't even have to be a print function. You can perform some math calculation or you can do whatever it is. All right. So thank you everyone for watching this first part of this video. I will see you in the next one.